How's it going tonight?
How we
Going
doing?
great. Going great.
Z- Zano can't even talk. He's got so many gumballs in his mouth. I mean, is that
I do have a gumball addiction. Matt Forbes knows that.
It's true.
is
I
that
know he doesn't chew
appropriate?
gum,
Yeah,
but it's gumballs.
is that appropriate nightcap etiquette to just be sitting there?
The sugar's just about gone. I'm gonna get rid of it.
Oh, so you
I'll
do it
make
for
sure.
sugar rush, and then it turns into a rock in like 2 minutes, and it's gone. I gotcha. I gotcha. So, what's going on, Land Geek Nation? The viewers are rolling in. Nice to see everybody. Uh, when you get a minute, let us know how our sound is. Matt Forbes, your spirit animal, James Simmons is here.
James Simmons, what's
Penelope
up?
Edie's here. What's up, Penelope? Uh, oh, it's Marcus. I was going to say, I bet you're relation to Marcus, but you are Marcus. I see what you're doing there. Nice to see everybody. As always, Mike Zano, who are we and why are we here? Or maybe I'll defer to. Did you see that big slobbery gumball come out of his mouth? Mike Zano, who are we and what is our
I'm sorry. I
function?
have a gumball addiction. I'm sorry. We are we are the Land Geek guys. We come on once a week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, whenever we figure that out, and we talk about land investing. And we have some
Nice.
drinks before or after the show, depends, or during sometimes,
Or all three. Don't
or all three.
let's not pigeonhole ourselves
But
here.
there is a two-drink limit typically.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I didn't know that. It's good to know.
Right. Yeah. Um, who is your? I'm not sure who wrote that. Who is your daddy and what does he do? Um,
The show is off to a bad foot already.
it's off to a bad start. That's for sure. I think James
Well,
Simmons
it
is
is 10
fooling with
o'clock
us.
on the East Coast. The kids are typically tucked in bed safely. On the West Coast, better turn the volume down.
Yeah. So it's typically a PG-13 show until Forbes gets a few drinks in him, until he passes
Listen,
the two-drink limit, and
One
then
nothing,
time.
nothing surpasses the anniversary show when he just
One
was
time.
in rare
One
form.
time.
one
One
time,
time.
It was
One
great
more
time.
than
though.
one.
Baseball cap on backwards, just spouting all kinds of land wisdom. It was a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
Uh,
Matt, Sweatceto season is back upon us.
Oh yes. That sounds good. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to wear the sweatsuit again. You name the day. I'll make it happen.
Next
well,
week.
yeah, I think next week we should break them out. Unless we're supposed to get a little bit of a warm up here next week, so we'll see how warm it is. But we have a question already.
Thank God.
Usually we don't get one until like minute 30, so this is exciting. Um, this is from Maximiliano. What's up, Max? How's it going? He says, "What do you guys think about buying land close to big parks, either tiny home communities or just campground? Allows RVs to park and charge by night, week, month. Oh, allow RVs to park and charge by night, week, or month. That way we never lose the asset. It can't get paid off." I mean, it's a great question, Max. I love those properties. I love selling those properties because people love owning land that they can camp on. But I guess the question is, do we Airbnb it? Thoughts, fellas?
Airbnb. I have not. I guess it could work.
It
If you
works.
had property in the right location, I'm sure. Matt, have you done it?
I've not done it, but I was on a guy's podcast who had Mark was on his and another person was on, and that's what they were trying to set up and do. And so I know that that works, right? You set up an RV park, kind of, but no hookups or anything. Now that I'm a big RVer, I know all these terms. Very exciting.
Right.
Um, here's my thought on that though. Like, what a pain in the butt. That's my only thought. Like, if you can get it to work and you're happy with it, thumbs up. I think you can make money doing it. I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to pay the insurance to have someone else stay on your property, or take the risk of having them on your property without that insurance. I don't know if you want to go chase people down for $40 because that's what they'll pay a night. So
Right.
if you want that, if that's how you want to roll with this, awesome. I will not partake myself.
Is that typical now that you're an RV guy? $40, is that typical overnight rate?
So it can go up to 150, right? But
They
a
have
lot
a
of
lot of
places are like,
amenities. I suppose for
yeah,
150, you're gonna have a pool, a little bit of a lake. You're gonna have
right. That's
you
where, yeah, you can hook up. There's water and sewer and all that stuff. I think this notion is like, hey, people can come and just sort of boondock on your spot. In today's world, in the RV world, there's harvest hosts and boondockers welcome, maybe, and you pay a nominal fee a year, $100 a year, and then you stay in all these places for free. And so the notion of that business, I think it sounds good, but I just, yeah, like I would keep your eye on the ball. But if that's really what you wanted to do, like it's not like you couldn't make that work. You could
Yeah.
totally make that work. It just sounds like
right.
work.
Yeah, I think there's probably lots of variations of this model, and it's just, if you go through the process and you get the details down and you know how to run it and it's efficient and you can outsource it, then boom, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's it.
There's
I don't think I can't. I will tell you this. I can't think of a successful land investor who would want to take that on. I'm not sure if that says something about it, but none of the people that I know would ever touch that. Because why would you? Why you could hour for hour make far more money with your time, just doing more properties. But again, if that's what you wanted to do, freaking, could you make it work? Yes, I think you could definitely make that work.
Yeah, I mean, give it a shot. It distracts or it detracts from the recipe a little bit, right? But that might be something to do once you're up and running. We talked about this last week. Get your wheels underneath you, follow the recipe, do the beginner stuff, get your business up and running, then experiment a little bit, see what
Yeah.
happens.
I think that's smart. I think that's the right advice.
Let's see. Keith Forche says he did do a hip camp spot. Yeah, hip camp is a site that people use for renting their land out. He did a hip camp spot last year and sold it to someone who stayed a weekend on a terms deal. So there you go. Keith, he it transitioned into a sale for Keith. So who knows? He might be onto something.
I say is inch wide, mile deep. We're very, very specific in what we do, but there's variations of it, and I don't think there's probably no limits on what you can do. Actually, it's just a matter if you have the appetite for it and you want to put the work in.
Right. Dave LaFay is here. What's up, Dave? Max says he thinks campgrounds may be a bit easier than actual Airbnb type spots. He is currently evicting a tenant. So believe me, I hate the idea of having humans on the land, but I do see the upside to it. Try to balance between long-term tenant and just rotating people, but I agree with the premise of our land business. People living there can be a pain. He's currently at war with a tenant. So those are things we don't want. Those are typically things, though. I mean, Max, you've done a ton of deals. What percentage of deals that you've done are you dealing with an issue like this? That's the beauty of the land business. I have a friend who owns. What's that?
Sorry, I was going to say you made a good point. Tenants, termites, toilets. We always say we're not, but you bring in one of those teas back.
Yeah, it's true. You're bringing one of the teas back. I like it. But eliminate the teas.
You were saying you had a friend that was doing something?
Austrians. No, I have a friend who she owns a bunch of duplexes with her brother, right? And it took them a number of years to start making a profit, and now they're doing okay, but they're dealing with stuff all the time. More than 1% of the time, they're dealing with stuff. That's what we love about land. I mean, it's a 1% type deal. All right, here's a question from Will Power. Will, I like that name. If that's
Hmm.
your real name, that's really cool. If it's not, it's still really cool. Why are some people willing to lose their property to tax sale rather than sell it? It's a good question.
It's a good question.
It,
They may not know anybody that wants to buy it.
yeah,
They,
that's
they don't know. I
Exactly.
mean, that's the weird thing. We talk about taking these properties that are tax delinquent, and that sounds great. But then the flip side of the question really is, well, then who wants them? If this person who owns it didn't want it, like who's to say somebody else would want it? So that's actually a really good question. It brings up that topic, doesn't it?
part of it is it had for a lot of people it has no intrinsic value. They didn't buy it. They were gifted it. They were handed it down from their parents. They didn't know about it. It has no value to them, and they called an agent. The agent was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna sell that for 12 grand. I'm out." And they're like, "All right, well then forget it." Right? The way they look at it is like the yearly taxes, all $84 or whatever the heck it is, right? Is a burden, and they don't want to pay the burden, so they just sort of let it go.
Right.
It happens all the time. You wouldn't do it. I definitely wouldn't do it. These other two guys would never do it. But that's one of those things, like, just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean other people wouldn't do it.
Well, it speaks to the niche that we're in, right? There's
Yeah.
lots of ways to make money out there, and you could be getting rid of something, any of us, a bike, anything, and be like, I'm just done with this. Yeah, take it. Oh yeah, $10, sure, take. And they have this whole model where people love bikes, right? But you just don't know how they do what they do, and it's not a big mystery. It's just something you don't know. So people don't know how we do what we do. It's not that it's extremely difficult. It's just a new concept for them. There are people out there that love these properties, and are willing to pay for them on a monthly basis. But and again, we've talked about this. Even suggest this to people when they're trying to negotiate. They want more money. I'd say, hey, why don't you just do what we do? We let the end user's going to pay us small monthly payment. Oh, forget that sounds complicated. No, I don't want to do that. They just don't even want to think about it. Never mind, try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas. Um, Billy Cook, do you know anyone doing land deals in South Carolina? Is the Southeast a good place to pick up land that owners don't want?
I don't know anybody who's done a deal there, but that doesn't mean really much of anything, right? It just means that we focused on other areas. I think if you can buy land, any asset, 25 cents on the dollar, you're in good shape, right?
Buy
But
it.
we I just haven't done deals there, so I can't speak to that state, but I can speak to the fact that you're buying an asset 25 cents on the dollar. If you find something in South Carolina 25 cents on the dollar, I'd buy it. If it's really that good of a deal, but I haven't done deals there.
I would buy it too, but understand that this is a volume game. Buying a piece of property here and a piece of property over there isn't the model. Buying 10 over here and 30 over there and 50 over here, and having an inventory of the same kind of property, because you've got 200 ads on Facebook that just keep going, where people are constantly coming back. And you're like, oh, well, the one you called about actually sold 6 months ago, but I have these other two over here. Right. So in this onesie twosie world, that doesn't really work. So could you do it? Yeah, you could do it. Is that a sustainable, long-term, successful approach? Maybe not as successful as going to where everybody else is and buying, 50 properties your first year or your second year. Right. So you have to look at that. I would look at that angle as well.
Well, it's a good point. There's no rules here too. If you want to buy a property here, property there, and flip it and make some good return, the
Sure.
only thing is it gets sort of addictive, right? And you begin to realize, hey, I'd like to do more of these. How do I do more of these? And what can I really take on for deal flow? But you could certainly do a property a month or property here, property there, and be very happy and content, right? There's no
Yeah.
nobody's saying you have to develop the business to the level we're talking about. It's still an incredible side hustle just to buy one here and there. But I think you get addicted pretty quick once you see the returns.
Yeah, it's just more expensive when you do one here and one there. That's all, because you just don't get the economies of scale of doing it in the locations like we do it in, right?
Yeah.
So it, again, I don't want to tell anybody like, no, that's a dumb idea. You're going to rent out that land as a campsite. That's horrible for all these. You're an idiot. You shouldn't do that. Because if that's what you want to do, you should go do it. But is that this business model? Is that this niche? No, it's not. That's something else.
Right.
Right. And maybe I'm wrong. And maybe somebody else is doing a podcast right now. Like, oh my God, those land people are nuts. You should go and rent it out and do all that. Like, can you do it? Yes, you can do it. Is that the model? No, it's not the model. It's not the model. It's close, but it's not.
And he has another point here. He says, "Thanks. I've been looking into cash flowing real estate, and it doesn't work well everywhere." And that's really true. And in this business, when we think about cash flowing real estate, what we're really talking about is owner financing monthly. We make our properties cash flow for a really long time. And you can't do that everywhere. We love working out west because we can buy land or because we can sell land for 100 down, 100 a month. And we can do that all day long, even 200 a month, 250 a month. I was looking at my average terms deal the other day. We're about $163 a month, something like that on average. You can do that stuff all day long, right? It's a little bit harder to finance property or cash flow property when you don't have a lot in inventory, Matt Forbes, like you said, and things are a little bit more expensive. A little bit harder to find a buyer for $300, $400, $500 a month, and it takes longer to get your money out. Right, we're getting our money out on these deals in 10 months or less. We all get deals all the time where we make our money back on the down payment, which is pretty awesome. So, all right, let's see. We got some good questions coming in. Here is one from Sang Tran. I think this kind of talks or kind of is relatable to what we talked about earlier. Have you ever allowed a buyer to put glamping on your land and they're on the owner financing land? So, no, saying, I've allowed people to camp on the land per county restrictions, but I'm not going to allow them to set up hip camp on their own. I'm not going to allow them to make improvements unless they clear it with me. But again, that rarely happens. So, just be upfront with those people when you're selling the property and say, not sure what your intent is with the property. You can camp on it, you can visit it, but we just don't want you making improvements on the property until it's paid off. Those are the conversations we have with people when we're selling. Matt Forbes, any thoughts on that? Kind of similar to what we talked about earlier.
Yeah, no, I'm in total agreement with what you just said. Right, you got to sort of stick to the right. What?
Nothing.
You say that's a first? That is a first.
I said that's a first.
You stick to the recipe, right? I would not.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, listen, people staying on your land. Some investors don't care. I also don't allow it. I don't want headaches.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Well, you had a headache recently. I mean, I think I had a headache. I didn't find out about the headache. I had a guy on a note. I didn't know he was living on the land until 3 years into the deal. I called Mike Zano. I was like freaking out. He's like, Scott, just deed him the property. I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah. Or sell it.
I deeded him the property. I'd already made money on it. It wasn't my issue anymore. So, but we hate those deals, right? It just adds way too much stress to our low stress business.
Correct. So that's, there's this whole work-life balance, right? Like, just deed it to him and be done. Like, did you make money? Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you lost a little bit. Who cares, right? Not every deal is smoking. Not every deal is a home run. It is what it is. But overall, you do quite well if you stick to the recipe. If you do what you know you guys tell us to do, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I love this from Mark Eady. He says, in Charleston, I pay $2 per oyster, so 25 cents on the dollar for land. That's a no-brainer. I like that. That's funny.
Yeah, 25 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, right. Facebook user. Oh wait, that's James Simmons. All right. So talk about cloudy titles. How do you clean them up so we can offer warranty deeds?
I'm out.
So do we even go after those deals? I don't know.
I don't.
Mike, yeah. Forbes, you
Yeah, I
don't.
know. I mean, there's ways if there's a cloud in the title, you can go clear it up. But I think the biggest thing is um, we like to take the lowest lying fruit. And the lowest lying fruit is a deal that someone's owned for 10, 15, 20 years, or
Yep.
you see a nice clean history of transactions, of
Yeah.
title transfer. You know, you can take on more difficult properties if you desire. And this sort of falls in line with, do you want to have people, rent it, like at the very beginning of this conversation? You sure can, but this adds another level of complexity. Do you want to go after probate properties or properties that have a cloud on the title? Well, sure, you can. If you want to learn how to specialize in that or get really good at that, and you could make a lot of money. But you could also just pass that deal, and since you mail consistently, go on to the next one. And you know that's sometimes hard, especially in the beginning, to pass up a deal that's like, wow, look at this deal. I'm going to make 4x on my money. I just got to clean up the title. Eh,
It's not a deal.
yeah, that's, and if you only mail a few here and there, and that's what you have, to let that deal go is going to really hurt. It's not going to feel good. But if you mail all the time and you have a queue full of deals, that one deal is just going to be like passed with no problem. Like, hey, nope, I got 5 more waiting for me that have no issues. So I don't go into that whole idea of I have not gotten into the whole process of cleaning up titles and there's a cloud on the title and so on and so forth. I just buy properties that are easy to work with.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've never done it. I got a buddy who's done a couple of quiet titles where like something's really banged up. He didn't know it when he bought it, and so it got screwed up. But it was it was a couple $1,000. And just why spend all your energy over here when you can do 5 to 10 times the amount of deals with the same amount of energy expended by you, right? So this is, we are not the saviors of land. I think in the Land Geek community, right? We are not there to right the ship. We are there to take the easy wins and win. Right? I'm sure there are people who specialize. I think probate's a really good one, right? Because when you're new, you immediately start running into probate deals, right? And people, I can help these people. I can do this. I'm doing a service. Yada 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 yada. That probate takes 2 years. That probate took a year. That probate's gonna go take 18 months. Like, what are you doing? Right? Can you do it? Yes. You can do any of the things that have been asked tonight. Could you do any of those? Yes. Do I want to? No, I don't. And I'm doing a probate one right now. Actually, it's horrendous. Right? We used it as an experiment to see if we could, crack the code and make it go fast. And so far, no.
It's funny you say.
Why are you experimenting, Matt Forbes? Why?
Because I don't do any of the work. That's why. Because I got enough.
Well, that brings up a good point. It gets to a certain point in the business where you sort of are idle in a sense, right? And you have time. You do have an entrepreneurial spirit. You're like, all right, what else can I do? Maybe I'll start looking at, and that's a good time to say, maybe I'll look at doing this or doing that. Look at it. How would I deal with probate issues? Let me take some. Maybe I'll take a course on it. Maybe I'll study it. There's options, right?
Yeah.
But that's the bread and butter's done at that point. You got the foundation, the fundamentals, and now you're just like, hey, let me do something with my time.
What's next? My wife and I have a bad habit of going, okay, what's next? Right. What's the next thing? Right. Set this up, get this plate going, get it making money. What's next? Take over the world. Me and her versus everyone else in the world. Let's go. So
it's all good, dude.
That was one of those moments.
Well, I mean, that whole mentality though is what got you where you are today, right? Um,
Yeah, but I'm not
so
like you guys are way more successful in this than I am, right? For sure. But but you've been at it longer, right? In 2 years, I think you're 2 years ahead of me, Bosman, or three maybe. So now that I've been in it for 3.5 years, in 2 years, I'll be where I will be, where you are today. Hopefully passing you. And that's a great place, But I
no,
will
if you
have
look at
long
yeah,
stopped doing the business by then. I mean, I'll be doing it. Don't get me wrong. I just mean like me,
yeah,
personally, my time, where I spend my life, right? Because once it's going, it's going.
once it's gone, it's gone. We have a win to share. Sang Tran, he just wants to share his first retail cash sale ever. Sang, this is awesome.
Let's hear it.
Sang went through flight school a few months ago. He bought it for $950, sold it for $2,300 plus a $249 dock fee. He just advertised the land in 3 months. So in 3 months, he nearly tripled his money. Sang Tran, that's awesome. Good for you. Congrats. I know. I know that had to feel amazing. That first retail cash sale feels amazing. So congrats to you. And as Mark Podolsky says, rinse and repeat. Time to
That's it.
rinse and
Hop right
repeat.
back on and do it again.
Awesome. That's great.
But do celebrate because the first one
Yeah.
is huge. It really can invigorate you. It's like, you can hear us talk about this till we're blue in the face or you're blue in the face or whatever. When you do your first deal, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like Mark Eady says, if you can do one, you can do 100. That's exactly right. That's
Exactly right.
that's the goal, man. Um, Another question, let's see here from Ross Davis. Ross, nice to see you here. If you buy a property with a tax certificate on it for delinquent taxes, do you buy the property first and then pay off the taxes, or what is the process? So it kind of depends.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zano.
No, it does depend. I mean, it's okay to buy a property with a tax lien on it. I always tell people in layman terms, just call the county when you buy a property or before you buy the property, actually. Any taxes owed? If so, how long before something bad happens? Like,
It's a
am I going to lose this property? Like, what's the window? And so if a tax lien's on it, no big deal. Why? How much do I have to pay, all inclusive, to bring this to balance this out to zero? Anything, just that's the number you need to know because that's the number you negotiate with. And once you know that and you know the timeline, maybe you let it ride for a bit. Maybe you need to pay it off right away. If it's a tax deed property, like a deed grabber, you're going in and there's a tax deed auction, which we've all done this, right? And you got a property that's a couple weeks from an auction and you pick it up at a sweet deal and probably ticking off the neighbor who's been waiting for that property to go to the tax deed auction, by the way. So that is a deed grabber. That you want to pay off pretty quick because you want to stop it from going to the auction.
Yep. I've done that. I've bought one on a Tuesday.
Neighbors love you, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to come. And all of a sudden, why is it no longer on the? Well, yeah, someone just came in and bought it.
I had to go to auction it was in the same week it was going to auction, and I didn't know. I somehow, like, we stumbled into the fact that it was going to auction. We actually didn't know, right? We just looked at the back. We were like, oh, okay, whatever. And then somewhere in due diligence, it was like, huh, that's weird. We called the county, and the woman's like, you have till the end of the day. And we're like, take my credit card number right now, go. We did, and and then we sold it, a couple days later. But yeah, you just got to be careful. You have to pay attention, right? Because that stuff can slip through. But also, there's to be fair, in a lot of these states, there's a decent redemption period. So it's not necessarily the end of the world, but you don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes down to knowing the rules in the county, and that's why we say start with the county and stay there because you get to know these rules really well. So there's a county I work in. There's there's a 3-year tax lien cycle. So if I'm picking a property up in year 1 of the tax lien, I'm not feeling any pressure to pay that thing off, especially when they charge me $1 a month.
Yeah.
Not even that,
Okay.
cents a month, right? If I'm in year 2, should pay it off soon. If I'm in year 3 of the tax lien cycle, yeah, I should maybe pay it off. But you know what? Here's the other thing. Like these counties, when it gets to the time that it is becoming emergent, they send you these bright pink letters in the mail because it's a few
Yeah.
have gotten past me, and they say your property will be sold at auction in a few months. And you're like, oh, I better pay those taxes. I don't typically like to wait that long, but typically the county's good at letting you know uh, when you need to pay this stuff off so you don't lose the property.
Yeah. There's definitely a sub niche there, right? Going after people whose properties are gonna be taken, because
Right.
it's like, well, you can take my $2,000 right now, or you can get nothing, because that's what's going to happen in 5 days. And I know you don't have the 3,000. So you want $1,500? You want $1,000? You want $2,000 right here, right now? Right. There's a little sub niche there that's pretty good, but you got to be really Johnny on the spot with that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Liam Nielsen will be in that new movie Taken 3, The Vacant Land. Yeah, that brings up a good point, though. I have our team, when it comes to the taxes, I prefer, and they call the county and ask them. You can look on the website and get these, but the website, having a person you talk to and saying, finding out exactly what's going on, the timelines, all that, I think it's critical. Plus, I'd like them to hear them say the property back. So, verifying it's the right property. I don't want to just rely on the website. I know there are some really good websites out there. Maybe you get used to the county you work in and you know 100% that the website's accurate and you're good, but still, I like that phone call to the county just to say, hey, I had this parcel. Yeah, and who do you show as the owner? Great, yeah. And what's the tax situation? Okay. And then any other questions that come up if there is back taxes, like, okay, great. Is there anything bad that's going to happen here? Like, do we have to pay this off quick?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's it. You don't have to be like all super like technical about it. Like, oh, you just speak to them. They're humans, right? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm buying this property right now. Am I going to be in a bad situation? Like, how long do I have to pay these? Oh, no, don't worry, Mrs. Zano. You can, they'll tell you, oh, yeah, well, you better, actually, yeah, next week. Like, oh, okay, thank you.
Mr. Zano?
Yes, I talked about myself
Is
in the third person.
that what they call you, Mr. Zano?
When they call the county, this is Mr. Zano. Actually, I'm not calling the county. So, but.
Is that what your VAs call you, Mr. Zano?
Yeah, they have.
When's the last time you called the county, Zano?
I don't know.
I don't know. Billy Cook. How long? So, Billy, you might need to clarify for me because I don't know if you're just talking about the land business and the strategy that we employ, but his question is, how has the effectiveness of this strategy changed over the years? Has the opportunity been increasing or decreasing? What external factors are affecting your strategy? You might need to clarify for me what exactly.
Yeah. I mean, is he talking like, as the economy changes and so on and so, is it harder to buy land? Is it harder to sell land? I mean, is that what he's sort of getting
Yeah,
at there?
I don't know if you could. Yeah,
We'll
you
see.
could
We'll let
clarify,
him
Billy.
clarify.
We'll let him clarify. Chime in.
That could be a new segment on the Nite Cap, the clarification.
The clarification segment. Jonas Murphy. Jonas, nice to see you. Have you ever had someone call you out on a neighbor letter trying to sell just weeks after they received my offer for 4 times less? Well, that's interesting. So you mail an area, you canvass the area, you offer them 25 cents on the dollar for their property, you pick up a property, and then you try to sell it to a neighbor that you're already mailed to.
I'll speak for myself, and you may have a different experience. Most of the neighbors that I've sold to are people that actually have something on their property. Like, so it's like
Right.
and they never would have got a letter from me in the beginning anyways. So I may go
Right.
to an area where there's a lot of vacant land and there are some houses here and there. Not to say somebody who has vacant land won't want to increase their acreage, but most of my successful neighbor sales have been people that live nearby or in close proximity. So and they have a structure, so they probably wouldn't have gotten my letter. But I can see where he's going, and it doesn't really matter because if the guy wants the land, he's gonna, he's gonna make you an offer. So it's worth checking out either way. It doesn't matter.
I love those properties sometimes with the homes right next door because I've had a lot of good success just giving them a ring and saying, "Hey, I have the property next door under contract, or I own the property next door. Do you want it?" And it's been a nice experience sometimes.
Mm.
Uh,
For
Go
sure.
ahead, Forbesy.
I say, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna do? Call the police? Honestly, like, is he
No,
gonna
yeah,
be mean to you over the telephone? Is that what we're worried about? Right. By the way, they ain't making that land no more. So if it's an honest to God neighbor, right? I don't think that's coming up. Now he may like jab you a little bit if he's interested. Yeah, I saw what you paid for it. What can we do? Happy to work with you. Right? Quick sale, quick cash sale.
yeah.
Let's talk. Right? I'm sure every once in a while someone just goes ballistic, but like that happens in all areas of this business, which is why you insulate yourself and outsource most of this stuff. But honestly, at the end of the day, like truly, what is that guy gonna say? It's like
And if
okay,
yeah,
yeah, it's all right.
That's
I
the
love that.
thing where we go back to, and I used this Scott Bossman on the round table. I was thrown the tip of the week. And so
oh,
I said, well, let me
Did
bring
you
up
quote
something.
something?
Yeah, I quoted Bossman.
Hmm.
That
what?
was my tip of the week. I said, don't let the
Okay.
emotion get in the way of the motion.
Oh,
You can
nice.
overthink yourself out of a good idea or you cannot overthink getting involved in this business. Your emotion gets in the way of the motion. You hear, Matt? We came up with that's a great saying, isn't it? Forbes, uh, Boston was talking like, what'd you just say? Like, did you hear what you just said? It was incredible. Don't let the emotion get in the way of the motion.
I like it.
I am honored that you
Quoted
used
you.
my quote as tip of the week.
And Scott Todd didn't even bat an eye at it.
You didn't? You didn't make fun of me or anything?
Probably because I mentioned Bossman.
Yeah, right. He's
That's the Scott connection.
That's funny. Well, I'm definitely honored. Um, what I was gonna say is, you know what? It's interesting. Like some of these people, they might call you up. Like Forbes was kind of alluding to this. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, hey, what are you gonna do? Like, but what if he calls you up and he's angry? He's like, listen, you just offered me this a few weeks ago. Now you want to sell me the same property for this?
Yes.
And, what if you just talk to him and say, well, I own the property. Um, if you want it, I'll sell it to you. Let's talk. And
That's it.
listen, if you make $500, you make $1,000. If you double your money, and you're providing a service to the guy, there's no harm in having that conversation with him, right? You don't have to triple or quadruple your money with the neighbor. A win is a win. I think
Yeah.
we get too hung up on
Yes,
the
since
numbers
when has
sometimes.
anybody ever? This is important, right? We talk about this. No one's ever like gonna look at you and say, "You only doubled your money."
Exactly.
What's that,
Right.
Forbes? You only doubled your money? Oh,
Yeah, you suck. Yeah, we just gotta get past this. It's like cold calling in sales. What's the worst thing they're actually ever gonna do to you? I mean, are they gonna swear at you? Is that it? Is that where we're at? It's not that bad, right? And if I mean there are people who will call you back just to pick an argument. Have a great day. Okay. Well, if you're not interested in buying it, no problem. Have a great day. Well, how come you blah blah? How come you sent me this mail? Wah wah. Did you also call MasterCard? I assumed you called American Express and yelled at them as well. All right. Eat blank off. Have a
See
great
ya.
day. Peace. Yeah, it's fine.
Peace to your mother. That's funny.
Whoa! Where's the show going?
He's
Right down the
Forbes
rabbit
isn't
hole.
even. He's not even drinking tonight. He's on some cleanse.
No,
So
Oh, by
people
the
get so
way,
angry
want to
with
take a
that.
poll? I want to take a poll. If anybody would like to have a Movember nightcap where we all wear mustaches,
Oh
oh
my lord.
yeah, let's let's take
and
that
then
poll.
also we'd like to bring back. People don't even know we can sing, or
No,
that we
I'm not.
think we
I
can
will not
sing.
be there.
I'll tell you right now, Bossman can sing. Forbes is very talented when it comes to Christmas songs, and I'm just not afraid to make a fool of myself.
Scott Todd got
Nice
run
one.
over by a reindeer. You remember that?
Oh my lord. Not our best.
Who sang that one? You,
Oh, it
Bossman?
was amazing. Yeah, it was Christmas a couple years ago. I think we definitely need a nightcap musical or Christmas musical, or I don't know. We'll see. I like the Movember idea. I really do. Um,
We're doing it.
James Simmons. So to expand on what he asked earlier, he says, so if you get one from an auction, does that title come with clouds? So it really
Oh,
depends on go what go.
I don't. We just talked about this on the round table. It's one of the. It's coming up, so I don't know. Like
Oh, nice.
like a cliffhanger. Stay tuned. That was the whole topic of the round table.
Oh,
Oh,
it
all
was
right.
nice.
Well,
But what I would say is this, without because I wasn't on the round
Well, you
table
weren't
this week,
there,
but
so we can hear your version.
well, but just call the county, James, and say what's the deal with this? Like, different counties are different. There will be a redemption period in some counties. Um, so, like in Colorado, there's a 9-year redemption period. If Matt Forbes buys a property at tax auction in 2015 and he sells that property to me today, what's that?
but I thought it was 7, 9.
No, I think it's 9 years in Colorado.
Okay. I don't know.
It might
That's
be
fine.
7, check. But anyway, uh, Matt Forbes can buy that property. He can sell that property, but whoever is the owner of that property can't do anything with that property during that redemption period.
Right.
You can't make any improvements on it. That doesn't mean that you can't sell it, and you just need to disclose that with your buyer. You need to say, listen, this property was bought at tax auction. There's a redemption period till 2024. That means the prior owner can come back and claim it, which never happens.
It
And
can happen.
but here's why it won't happen this time, because the guy passed away, so it's not going to happen.
Right.
And so there you go. I'll still sell to you on a special warranty deed. Some counties at tax auction, the title is the cloud and the title is gone right away.
Yep.
So just got to know your
Correct.
county.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the round table.
Yeah, and I guess go to the Roundtable podcast.
I wish I'd
Oh,
been there. Mark Eady has a question. I have been getting a few I'm getting a few owners who are deeding over their properties at no cost. What do you call that, Mike Zano?
is that the $1 Skittle or the Humdinger?
It's the
Humdinger.
$1 Skittle.
No, it's
What's
not.
the Humdinger again?
Yeah, no, the Humdinger is just it's a deal that comes in it comes
Like
to
a
your inbox,
no-brainer?
and it's a no-brainer. There's no back taxes. It's 25 cents on the dollar. Chain title's clear. Go get it, buy it. The $1 Skittle is where you buy a property for $1, or they deed you the property for nothing, whatever, and you take care of the back taxes or back POA fees or whatever. But anyway,
$1 Skittle.
he's getting properties deeded over to him at no cost because of outstanding POA/HOA dues. Outstanding dues are still so he's still getting the property with fees.
Yeah.
When you consider the fees, probably about 20 cents on the dollar. But the plan would be to repay the POA fees when sold.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. You just gotta, in my experience, I worked in an area once in a POA, And man, I was like, these are beautiful properties. I'm buying every one I can get. And I bought like 8 to 10 of them. And then I was like inundated with back POA fees. And the POA fees, they tend to accumulate a little bit faster than the county taxes do. The interest rate is a little bit more. There's late fees that they throw in there. So you just got to be careful with those POAs.
Some
What's
POAs are PO. Not very
Yeah.
I have a couple of counties where I do that, and I'll get stuff. I'll buy something for $200, and then I assume all the POA stuff, and it's great because you're into that property for almost nothing or nothing, right? But you got to understand, for all the benefit on the front end, the back end is, are people going to want to move there and pay those POA fees? You will bring it to zero when you sell it, right? Yeah. But I found that there's a couple thousand lots in this place, and the POA it's not expensive, but a lot of people don't pay. So it's not the most well taken care of thing. And so there's a certain type of buyer that's always interested and then eventually never buys because they're like, oh, there's this POA, right? And it's expensive over the next 20 years. So there's some downside, but
it depends what that delivers too. I've had some POAs where there's nice lake they can use, and they get this and they get that, and it's not too expensive. So people are, so yeah, this definitely depends.
I agree, but they're good. Like some of them you get in for really cheap money. So if you're new, that's a strategy. You're going to go where there is a POA, which is like against what we normally talk about, but there's love there because you can get into them for super cheap.
Here's the other thing I'd recommend, Marcus, is let's say you're able to buy 10 of those properties. Call the POA office and say, I'd like to be put on a payment plan for all of these dues at no extra cost, no fees. I'll pay $100 a month, whatever. I've done that before, and that way you don't have to pay them a bunch of cash when you're acquiring these properties. Just pay them a flat fee monthly, and then they don't charge a late fee. They don't accrue interest on the payments as well. So that's something you can maybe think about.
Sometimes you can negotiate with them too.
Yeah.
And be like, listen,
I've never had success doing that, but
what's that?
Yeah, I've never had success doing that. I've asked in the past, and they're like, nope, sorry. Okay, fine.
I have not had success. I haven't tried that hard. Right. But at a certain point, you're like, listen, I own 17 lots and I owe you $19,000. So you're either going to get none of it or you're going to get half of it. What do you want?
Right.
I think you could play hardball and make that work. But yeah, but I haven't tried very hard, nor have I been successful with
that. Awesome. All right, a few minutes left here. We got still questions rolling in. I love it. So Billy Cook's his question, just to clarify, your overall strategy relative to the economy, etc. Like, has our strategy changed in this business as far as buying and selling land compared to when we started? I started 6 years ago. Zano 6-7 years ago. Matt Forbes, what, 3-4 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Has your strategy changed
Nope.
due to or in relation to the economy, the overall climate in the world?
Not one bit.
Thoughts? Strategy has not changed. Strategy is the same. Mechanics may be slightly different. The market waxes and wanes a little bit, right? We've had to adjust our offer prices up a little bit. But as long as you're still consistently mailing, you're still consistently doing deals. And then you're going to make it up on the back end.
Yeah, I'd say no dramatic change at all.
No.
What is that?
Somebody must be printing something.
Oh, you're printing. Okay, I got you.
Oh, so what are you printing?
I don't know.
What are we printing right now?
Oh God.
Let's see here.
Well, that must mean that my my crisp noise canceling is off. There it is.
Yeah, it's not working. It's Skype.
It's
So
on high now. How's this sound?
Skype
that's
is
better.
terrible.
Could you hear that
Better.
clapping?
No.
Yeah, so now it's on. See? You can't hear this.
No.
You weren't
Can you
snapping.
hear?
I was.
You were like,
Look at it.
Look it.
Watch.
look,
Ready, Matt?
look, I'm
This is-
snapping. Look, I'm
This is
snappy.
it. Noise cancellation off. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Noise cancellation on high.
A little
it's
bit.
It's much less.
Much lighter.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more questions here. Jeff
That's
Storley says, yes, we do all need mustaches. So,
Yeah,
Forbes,
mustache.
get to work, because I know it takes you a little bit longer to grow a mustache than it does me.
No, by the way, 0% chance of me growing a mustache. Just so
I
you
got an
know.
idea.
Okay.
John Sikovich, if you don't, nice to see you, John. If you don't have an LLC and you can't use ACH to set up auto payments, what is the best way to collect monthly payments? I heard you could try with PayPal, but they don't like it. So if you don't have an
PayPal
LLC,
doesn't
what are
like
you
it.
doing?
PayPal doesn't like it, although at the beginning I did that for years and nobody bothered me. There's so many ways to take payment right now. You could literally, I've taken payments, people mailing me payments. I don't particularly like the payments where you have to go to Walmart and cash them in, because that just takes, like, it's not a 5-minute trip to go to Walmart and cash in one of their money orders. It's definitely a long endeavor, but I'll take money any which way typically.
Venmo, Zelle, check in the
Money
mail,
order.
checkbook, auto bill pay from your bank. Checkbook.io is a great service where people can send you a check for $1. So, but yeah, if you're in that situation, maybe try to pick a system, or try to pick one and go with it if possible. I like the Walmart MoneyGram. Walmart's just down the road. Love it. Anyway,
I get once a month we get mailbox money from one dude. We get a money order.
yeah, I get a money order too, once a month.
I would take that money order,
And
go cash it, and go out to eat with it. Make it a unique
and
day.
yeah,
Sold. I like that idea. I'll do that. Big fan.
Connor Hamilton. Okay, let's end with this topic because I think it's awesome. We'll each spend 1 or 2 minutes on it. Connor is 18 years old.
Hey, what's up, Con?
Is 18 too young to start buying land, or should I wait till I have more money and more experience?
Oh my God.
Don't
I
wait,
think
Connor.
Matt's got the best answer here, because I think he's already had some 11 or 12-year-olds making. How old? What's the deal?
I have a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old making money doing this business right now. I can tell you right now, Connor, the answer to your question is ask every single successful land investor, what's the one thing you wish you would have done different? And 100% of them will tell you, I wish I started when I was 18. Every single solitary person will tell you, I wish I started earlier. Every single one. And I know that because I asked that question at my first boot camp just to hear what people did wrong. And that was the only answer I ever got. And I went, maybe this really is for me. Can you do this at 18? You're damn right you can. 100%. If you apply yourself now, oh my God, if I did this when I started when I was 18, are you kidding me? I'm 42. Oh, if I'd started when I was 18.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to get in touch with us, Connor. We've had some people that have gone, started not too much older than you, and they're crushing the business now. I could put you in touch with them if you want.
Yeah, that girl.
Michaela is insane.
Michaela.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you have discovered this at 18 years old and you are motivated, you're going to rock this business. You just got to put in the time.
And all right, I'm going to say 2 things to Connor and then we can close out. But he wants to know how old we were when we bought our first properties. So he's rubbing it in a little bit.
39.
I was 39, Connor.
Yeah, suck it, Connor.
like
I was
mid
39.
40s.
So you know what, Connor, you got 20 years on us, dude. You can do this. If we can do this, you can do this, especially in today's day and age. And speaking of today's day and age, I think Connor would relate to something that we rolled out this week, Mike Zano.
Yes.
Yes, you want me to do it? You want to talk about it, or should I? Or
Oh, that. Yes. Well,
yeah,
it's a work in progress. There may or may not be Land Geek Guys TikTok channel. I
Land
knew
Geek
that was
guys
gonna.
TikTok.
Look at Matt
Check us
Forbes.
out
I'm out.
at
And
Land
for
Geek
those
guys.
reasons,
Connor Hamilton. Um, you're out. He's out. Forbes, we're going to feature you on there very soon.
We're looking for
Um,
followers, so go to Land Geek Guys on TikTok, and we're going to
nope.
be putting out tips for those of you who have TikTok.
yes.
Not me.
So
Put Matt to sleep, but Connor, check it out.
awesome. Connor, you can get in touch with us if you go to thelandgeek.com. You can book a call with either Mike or myself. You can email us at info@landgeekguys.com, or just send us a message on Facebook. And we'd love to talk to you about the business.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. It was a fun night. We'll see you what day next week, Mike Zano?
I was just thinking about that. I am away until Thursday morning, so hopefully Thursday night.
Oh, Thursday night. Okay. Thursday night. All right. So that's going to be Thursday, the 23rd.
But we do have a webinar Monday night.
We do have a webinar Monday night. That's another thing for you to maybe come to, Connor, if you want. We're having a webinar. We're having a Q&A session about flight school Monday night on Zoom at 9 p.m.
9
Eastern. And you can find details in the Facebook group. If you go to the Land Geek Motivational Wealth Creation group on Facebook, you can find details in there. And then the next flight school starts September 29th, 2 weeks from tonight.
Nice.
Connor Hamilton says definitely will follow the TikTok. He says it's so smart that we're getting in on the trend.
Don't judge it yet, Connor. And we would like some suggestions, Connor. You're probably more hip to it, so we're coming in from a whole different angle, but it's gonna get
Connor,
better.
you're probably more hip to it. I mean, that just gives away the cookie store right there. Now he knows you're a million because you just used that phrase.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. We'll talk